Hey guys, so the 5 languages that I'm learning are Japanese, Korean, Hebrew, Greek, and Spanish. And in this video, I'm going to get into more detail about each language and why I'm studying them. So Japanese is my main target language that I want to be fluent in. And I started learning Japanese when I was 12, but then I kind of fell off when I graduated from high school. But now that I'm a junior in college, I'm actually minoring in Japanese language, and I'm taking it a lot more seriously. I actually want to move to Japan to pursue some type of career. I'm not sure what exactly yet. I'm leaning more towards being a teacher, but I also ideally would want to be a translator. And since I'm not really doing anything this summer, I'm going to be spending most of the next 2 months studying Japanese mainly because I want to prepare myself for next semester and for the coming years in college so that I can graduate with all A's. But even though I've been kind of inconsistent with my studies, I still know hiragana and katakana by heart. And thankfully, I know at least 100 kanji by heart too. And I know of roughly about like 600 vocabulary words, which that may sound like a lot, but for my progress, I feel like that's not enough because I'm such a perfectionist and I just want to be fluent like right away, but I know that it takes time. I'm giving myself 2 more years after I graduate to become fluent in Japanese, and hopefully I'll reach that goal. Okay, so on to language number 2, which is Korean. So I know it may sound cliche, but yes, I'm learning Korean because of K-pop. But not just K-pop, but just Korean music in general, because I love learning languages through music, because that's how I became interested in learning Japanese actually. So even though English is my native language, I actually want to learn Korean using Japanese. And what I mean by that is that instead of learning from English to Korean, I want to learn from Japanese to Korean because I feel like it's a lot more easier for me to understand. And also there's a lot of similarities in terms of vocabulary and grammar with Korean and Japanese. Also, for some reason, using hiragana and katakana to learn Hangul instead of Roman letters is a lot easier for my brain to understand. I'm not sure why, but it just is. And that's why I downloaded a lot of apps in Japanese that teach native Japanese speakers Korean, and it's really helpful for me. So for languages 3 and 4, I'm going to talk about both of them together since I'm learning them kind of simultaneously since it's for the same reason, and that's Hebrew and Greek. So the main reason why I'm learning Hebrew and Greek is because of the Bible. I just recently started reading the Bible about 2 years ago. And I'm just really fascinated about learning like the actual meanings behind the words. And I just want to have like a deeper understanding of what's actually being written and said in the Bible. So since I'm studying the Bible, I'm mainly interested in biblical Hebrew and Greek, but I'm also open to learning modern Greek and Hebrew too. When I study Greek and Hebrew simultaneously, I like to use these 2 apps, one called Literal Word, and then the other one is called Concordance. And that's how I study biblical Greek and Hebrew. So when I study Hebrew separately, I like to use these apps. One is called Daily Hebrew, then I also use Hebrew Bible Study, Hebrew flashcards, and then I use Anki flashcards as well. And then for Greek, another reason why I'm interested in the language is because I'm also interested in Greek mythology. I think it's really cool and interesting. And I would love to read like some kind of Greek mythological novel in Greek because that would be really cool. What I use to learn Greek is this app called Drops, and then I use Write Greek, and then I use this other app called Greek Language. So last but not least, the 5th and final language that I'm learning is Spanish. I started learning Spanish at a really young age, like since I was about 3. And I know it sounds silly, but I actually learned Spanish from Dora the Explorer. And surprisingly, I actually remember a lot from watching that show. And then I took official Spanish classes in middle school starting from 7th grade to 8th grade. And I realized that I actually remembered a lot from so many years ago. So I figured since I remembered and retained a lot of Spanish vocabulary words, why not just continue my studies? I know some people recommend learning only one Spanish dialect, but I'm actually learning two, and that is Spain and Mexican Spanish. So for Spanish, I use Lingodeer, Drops, and I just recently downloaded this app called Chatterbug. I haven't really used it that much yet, but I'm really interested to see how it goes and what I actually learned from the app. So since my main focus is Japanese, and since I'm trying to be fluent in it, I try not to spend too much time studying the other four languages. I don't really have a study routine for the other four languages. I kind of just rotate among all of the languages. Like for example, I'll spend 5 minutes learning Spanish and then another 5 minutes learning Greek. But I try not to learn too many languages or all 5 languages in one day. So those are the 5 languages that I'm learning. I think all of these languages are beautiful. In fact, I think just languages in general, like all of them are beautiful. But these are the 5 that I'm the most passionate about. And yeah, thank you so much guys for watching this video. Bye!